Hey guys, welcome to this Pathway to Director session. The next 30 minutes is going to be absolutely awesome. It's going to be punchy. It's going to be power packed. We're going to hear an incredible story. We're going to learn some fantastic skills. But this Pathway to Director is a new initiative by Andrew and Vanessa. And look, it really is. It doesn't matter where you are. Director is really where it starts. That's where the business really, you start to make some money. You've actually got a structure or formation in your business that actually looks like a business. And the company deals with you a little bit different. They even send you prezzies, which is really nice. But look, our wish for everybody is just to help every single person to go through to that director level, and then then so much more opens up, and you see that as a business. Anyway, I want to bring on Janine. Now, I've met Janine many times on a Zoom. We've communicated over WhatsApp. I haven't met her in person. She's a gorgeous lady. I know Andrew's met her in
Yeah,
person.
yeah, yeah. We've had a couple of wines together.
You're in the
The
Bahamas.
Bahamas. Yeah,
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 of all places. So you
yeah.
meet good people all around the world. Fantastic. So look, Andrew and Vanessa just want to, before I go in there, they want to just send their love. Um, the reason they're not here is they're down in Sydney. They're building the business down in there. They had an event. It was a very personal family event that they wanted to be at tonight. And that's one of the beauties of building the business is that family comes first, and then being able to have us to sort of pick up and run the meeting. Well, they did that, but I can tell you they're driving back Wednesday. They'll be here. They will be on fire next week. I can promise you. So Janine is a three-star director, and which is an incredible achievement. And she has a very big business. She is incredibly well respected in the industry. She's well respected within the Dream Team and well respected within This Is It team. So I'm really looking forward to this. We're going to be taking. I'm glad we're recording this because I want to make lots of notes from this. But Janine, can I just bring you on? Do you want to just share a little bit of your story and maybe we can go. I thought maybe we share your story a little bit, an event that happened recently and how you were able to continue the business through that, and then we can sort of see where it goes from there.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. Vanessa did ask me to jump on and share some things. So, for those that don't know me, I'm on the Sunshine Coast and my background's actually nursing. I was a registered nurse for 26 years. I've never been successful in an MLM, but I love health and wellness and I have tried a couple. I have fallen in love with LifeWave and I've been in this business for 15 months. And recently we had a devastating situation where it was actually only 7.5 weeks ago. We woke up in the middle of the night to a fire that was out of control in our garage, and we got out of our house with pajamas and our phones. And so we actually lost everything that night, all our belongings and our home. And it was just one of those unexpected, unpredictable events that you just don't ever think it is going to happen to you. You know, these things always happen to other people. And when I was a ICU nurse, I have looked after plenty of patients in burns. Trauma was one of my specialties. And I couldn't believe that we actually managed to escape this. We only had 3 minutes, and the fire department said we would all be dead. So grateful that it actually evolved the way it did. And it's been an interesting 7.5 weeks. And on reflection, I've got a few things I'd like to share. Vanessa asked me to speak to this, and I thought, okay, what can I actually share with others that might be helpful when it comes to your business with LifeWave and what all of you want to achieve? So I've made a couple of notes just so I stay on track, because our world was upside down. We had nowhere to live and we literally had no belongings. And obviously, there's a period of shock that goes with that and grief. But when things like that happen, and we know life happens in all sorts of crazy ways, you do have a choice when it comes to the way you want to show up. And I did choose, I suppose, a more resilient path. I have worked very hard on myself for a long time, so I felt like I had the capacity to show up in certain ways. So I do want to say, with this business, LifeWave, what I didn't realize at the time, and I'm now really appreciating it, nearly eight weeks down the track, is that this is so different to any conventional business or job, because when stuff happens like that, guess what? The next day, I didn't have to ring my boss and say, I'm not coming in. I didn't have to stress about, okay, what sort of leave can I acquire now? As a registered nurse, you're paid by the hour and you have a roster, and there's a lot of pressure and responsibilities to show up and perform. With this, I literally, I did nothing. I think within the first 2 days, one of my brand partners called me for some support, and I let her know what had happened and said, "Could you please tell Vanessa?" And she did that. And then I had all this support. I was held by the team, which was amazing. Um, I I didn't have to do anything in my business, and I actually still got paid. Because of my efforts over the previous 15 months, I saw this, what was actual residual income coming in every week. And it really dawned on me. I was like, actually, this is the residual income part. Because we were just, really in survival mode. I've got 2 children, and it is an extremely busy time in your life when you have to reset and restart and get everything again. And yeah, Andrea's nodding. Some people, when you've gone through this, it's a really crazy, intense time. There's so much admin, there's so much shopping, there's so much stuff that you have to do, and it's hard to find the time to even go through the emotional component because you've got so much to do. But while I was doing all of that, while I was rebuilding things and getting our family sorted and house hopping, we house hopped 5 houses in 4 weeks, trying to find a rental. I was getting paid, and my team continued to do their thing. I did message my team in the chat to let them know what had happened. I had a lot of personal messages. I had team call me. I had team deliver food to my front door, my local team. It was a really beautiful experience in that way. But it's really highlighted to me how important it is to not wait until everything's perfect in your life to build this business. Because actually, looking back, if I'd gone harder in those last 15 months, I'd probably be, further along. I would be further along. But yeah, let me just look to my notes because I could easily digress here. Okay. So what happened was 2.5 weeks after this devastating fire, I was presented with the challenge of, do I go on the Bahamas trip that I have earned or not? I didn't have a passport. I didn't have a suitcase. I had nothing. And I decided to still go. One day I was walking around a shopping center with my husband, who was bursting into tears because we were buying him, buying him clothes for the first time, and he just stopped, and it was really hitting him. The next day, I had my family say to me, "Do you know what? You've got to go. You've got a free trip to the US, to the Bahamas. You've got to go." My kids wanted me to go. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to go. I don't know how. I got a 24-hour passport. Within 3 days, I had everything I needed, and I just left. And I only did that because my family were okay for me to do that, because, of course, the family comes first. But part of that was, and the reason I did that was because although there was all this craziness and uncertainty in our world, and in my life, I was not uncertain about this business, and I was not uncertain about my why. And so I remained very connected to my why, and the vision was clear. And do you know what? It was really nice to have something positive and really important to focus on that wasn't all this daily drama and stress and insurance and all the things. And so the opportunity that LifeWave had given me to go to the US also included a stopover in LA, because you've got to get to Miami somehow and get back somehow, and you've got to stop somewhere. So I stopped in LA, and I have a half brother there that I'd never met. So that was part of this whole experience. And I figured, well, while I'm in LA, the wellness capital of the US, why not do a bit of prospecting? You know, I'd always had a vision to have a team, to create a team in the US, especially LA. And so I did that over 4 days, and my husband supported me doing that. And that really opened me up to, I suppose, what we keep being told, which is most people don't know about this. When I was in the capital of wellness, in a very wellness focused area, every single person I spoke to in wellness there had never heard about the X39. I met one person who was just a random guy chatting to me in a health food store, a teacher. He'd been patching for 2 years and loves the patches. And so this was just a reminder to me that this is a huge opportunity. And so that really fueled me. It was amazing. And I've actually got some brand partners coming on board in the next couple of weeks from LA. So, um, but
what an incredible blessing. And so Vanessa was telling me or telling us just how you'd found your voice. Was that through this or before this?
oh
Did
yeah,
that?
this is true. Actually, this is the other thing is, okay, so with all of this, I know that like I'm not the only one in the world going through, all the things. Everyone's got their challenges going on. I know that. And they're all different. And so um I'm speaking to everyone with all the things, not just a massive, random trauma. I'm talking about life does punch you in the face a few times. I mean, that's just part of being a human being, right? And so there's always going to be something unpredictable that happens. So I'm kind of digressing, Chris, but I will come back to that. So this is typical of me. But what was I saying? Yeah. So what I really want to make clear is that I keep hearing people saying, "Oh, I need to be ready. I need to sort my house out. I need to sell my this, and I need to do all these things." I'm talking about people who are already brand partners in order to really expand themselves in this business. I'm just going to say to you right now, don't waste time because like life is short and things happen and I feel like there's never a right time. Like this is so inconvenient for me to be on this right now with what's going on behind this door, but it's like this is worth it because the vision is clear and the mission is clear, right? But when it comes to my voice, yes, like before this business, I was absolutely petrified just even thinking about speaking publicly, right? I couldn't even be like on a Zoom myself as an attendee to unmute myself without having an adrenaline rush. So what I'm going to remind everyone is that this is 100% a personal development journey. This is part of direct sales. It's one of the best parts, and it is important to push your growth edges. Doing what I'm doing tonight is pushing a growth edge. The opportunity Zoom to who knows, the whole world is an opportunity, and it's also pushing a growth edge. So yes, I'd say the patches and LifeWave and this whole experience has completely allowed me to find my voice and get really clear on like what's important to me and how I want to show up in the world in this capacity. Yeah.
Oh, that's absolutely brilliant. And how did you feel coming back from the trip, getting around that big community of people, of leaders?
Oh, it was amazing. So just to get this, I mean, this is crazy. Like some people might say I'm insane, but I did go to the US. I came back. I wasn't jet lagged. I was actually I was on the Alavita. I got some Alavita while I was there, which we'll all be getting sometime this year, guys. So don't worry. I don't know if it was the Alavita, but I wasn't jet lagged. Okay. 5 days later, I went to Melbourne with my kids for a bigger family connection. And then I came back and went to the Gold Coast for our for the conference. And then I've just spent the weekend at a wellness festival. So I haven't really stopped. But the reason I've said yes to all of that and decided that saying yes to life, yes to expansion, yes to continuing to create is because um, so many things, but it's just too important to pause. And being around all those people in the US who have been in this for longer, as well as our own dream team and beyond the Australia New Zealand team, the Arise team, I mean, these people are good people, all trying to just create some really positive impact in the world, and they all have their own reasons. And being around people with that sort of energy, who are solution focused, who are optimistic, who are fun, like it's really good. You know, it's really good. It fuels you to keep going because the whole resilience piece is not about like all of a sudden, I feel amazing. I'm so resilient. You know, I'm so strong. No, that's about every day just deciding to choose, making micro decisions and choose to show up in a particular way. And it can be in daily habits, it can be the way you speak. It's all mindset, guys. Like, this is it. If you don't get your mind sorted and your beliefs and really become aware of what comes out of your mouth and what's in your thoughts, you you just don't move forward in the right way. You just don't create in ease and flow. So yeah, this is mindset. That's what it all comes back to.
Doesn't it? I mean, one of the things that I always train my guys in our traditional business, our advisors, it's so important to be attitude dependable. You know, so it's you're not on a high one day and a low the next day. You're not abusing somebody that day. Just wouldn't put up with that. That was a culture we would not tolerate in our companies. You know, so the people that I looked for were in that world was being attitude dependable. It's the same here, isn't it? You know, it's
Yeah,
having that mindset.
100%. And I do, like, one of the questions I ask myself, and I'll encourage everyone to do this who's going through something difficult, is to ask yourself the question that what is the gift in this for me? Not the, oh, poor me, this is so unfair, because you could do that about so many things, but what is the actual gift? And
Yeah.
so my husband actually was able to ask that question on the night of our fire, on the night that our house was literally burning down. He was like, there's got to be a gift in this. Like, we just have to ask. And I thought, wow, like, this is so true. And then when you ask these questions, the awarenesses do come through. And
Yeah.
everything's a gift if you choose to see it that way.
Yeah, totally. And Andrea, we don't have time to go into Andrea's part of the story, but 10 years ago, her house burnt down and as well, and she lost everything. It just scraped through with her life. I was around there the next day. Just we weren't actually together at that point, but I was helping her sift through stuff. And the fireman said same thing. If you'd slept for 2 minutes longer, the headlines would have been totally different. And so. And you know, there'll be another time you can share that story, and because that's what Andrea did. What you know, okay, so what is the positive in that? And there was huge positive come out afterwards. You don't see it at the time. So whether people going through health challenges or people have been incredibly unfair or bullying in workplaces, whatever it happens to be, financial challenges. We've got a mate who's got a great saying. He says, "This too will pass." and
Oh,
and
yeah.
that is true. This too will pass, and it's what you do in this time while it's passing. You know, because the end of this year is going to come around. I mean, heck, we're halfway through March. You know, already it's just like, hey, it was New Year's Eve just a moment ago. But March next year is going to come around, and what position are we going to be in? So, hey, that's really cool. Janine, can you just share a couple of things? I know you do so well at the expos, and have you got some tips, some little nuggets you could share with us around that?
Yeah. Okay. I've done, I was actually trying to count them. I've like done 5 or 6 like wellness expos. Or maybe one of those was like just a normal market. I've done a morning market, a nighttime market, and then wellness expos. And what I've learned is I think I've now nailed, based on like what I just achieved over the last 2 days, the setup, right? You've got to have the gear and the setup. I'm going to put together a photographed package so people can clearly see what they need or what I've used, and they can, you can obviously pick and choose whatever you want. But I had certain things put up in like, for example, this biotech award.
That's
I
good.
had that printed and put in this little stand, right? So I'm showing that off. Um, I'll photograph everything so you can just sort of see I think it's really important to get the setup right so it's inviting, so it's spacious. A couple of red hot tips. Okay, so you're going to need 2 tablecloths, white. White is light. We don't want dark, like we don't want black or navy. Just white tablecloths look really fresh. And you need two because you're likely to like make a mess on one, or sometimes one doesn't cover the whole table and you want to be able to put stuff under your table. You need a sign up sheet. And one of the keys I've found that makes it easier is with a sign up sheet. So I've just got like, yes, please send me more information, right? And then it's name, phone number, email, of course, but then they're ticking a box to say yes for health information and yes for business. So I know who's opting in when it comes to business. Not everyone realizes that that's a thing, but it's just that it does highlight who is business focused, so you know what to send and just like have more conversation in that area. You need to like, as soon as you're getting names and numbers, you want to contact them, like send them stuff straight away. You do not delay your like sending out of information at all. You're going to want to speak to as many people in person as possible. And it's not always possible because you can be busy talking to one or two people and then you have a bunch of other people come by. So you kind of, you've got to get really fluid with like quickly, just quick, oh, so excuse me for a second, da 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 da, sign up here, I'll send you information. And so you'll get to know a whole bunch of people. You can build rapport really quickly in person and ask questions of those people. So you can find out as much as you can about them in terms of like what their why is. Why are they even looking at this? And then you make notes. You've got to make notes really quickly on a little book or the back of the sign up sheet, whatever. If you're sharing it with someone, there's strategies around like just how you go halves with this and how you divvy up the people, but we're not going to have time to go into all of that. But yeah, the Aussie, okay, so you've got to have the couple of clipboards, so one for sign up and then one for enrollment forms. And so the enrollment forms, I just hand write in on the front enrollment form, because I have a bunch of them, the current Australian prices. So people can straight away, because this is one of the questions you get to ask them most. And people will also take photographs of it too. Some people will want to take them. And also brochures. It's great to have brochures, but you don't want to have them out on a like in one of those display things, because randoms will just come by. They'll just take brochures and then you'll never hear from them again. And so I actually hide my brochures now. And then when someone's qualified enough, i.e. they've put their name down, I've had a conversation, or maybe I haven't had time to conversation, but they've put their name down, and plus or minus I've patched them, they get a brochure. And it's the brochure's that physical reminder. I have had some people say to me, oh my gosh, I just saw your brochure from like 6 months ago. Like, are you still doing those patches? So it is worth having brochures. And I just got some brochures from Michelle again. So also, okay, this is one of the biggest tips is to just remember you're in a network marketing business. So this is an opportunity to expand your network. So think about the stall holders, become really friendly with all the stall holders around you. And, don't pitch to them. That's like a bit off, but just unless they're like, when you say to that, when you start telling people about stem cell patches and what it could do, something, oh, I've got this back. Oh, yeah, then sure. But it's about building relationships. Like I've actually been able to create some relationships with some of the stall holders who are often, especially if you're at a wellness festival, like-minded folk who already get a lot of this stuff, open to alternative things, and they're already speaking a language. So becoming connected to those people is good. Start following them on Instagram. Also, that's right. This is the first time I did this, but because I'm now becoming more present, or trying to become more present on social media, I did have a little stand with a QR code to my Instagram, and I got about 10 new followers yesterday from the event, and it was just good to point people to that. Yeah, so that's also a good thing to do if you're showing up on socials. But yeah, then like I had, the other thing I did was had my laptop set up with some testimonies. So when people, if I'm in a good conversation with someone and they're actually getting close to signing up. So I signed up 4 people over the weekend, like 3 on the spot on the first day, 1 yesterday. And then I've probably got about 16, 17 like very hot leads. So when people are really getting close, I would sit them at the table and they watch the testimonies. And you could even just have like headphones to just put on. If it's a really noisy environment, that's just something to think about. That was like selling people the testimonies. They were in. So yeah, I've probably got like quite a few tips, but they're the main ones.
That's great.
Awesome.
So are they brand partners or preferred customers?
All brand partners.
Right.
All brand partners. I'd never even talked about preferred customer, except for one lady because she's just from a financial perspective. But there was only probably about 10% of that. So like, or two out of say 18 people, or 20 people in total. Two, three, actually no, 3 of them interested in the business, ticking that and saying I'm interested. So yeah.
Fantastic.
That's
Hey,
great.
Janine, that is absolutely awesome. That's gold. In fact, we could probably do a whole session just on that,
We
a whole
could.
hour. And I'm sure,
Oh,
I'm sure this is not going to be the only time Andrew and Vanessa pull you in to share your wisdom. Because and thanks for sharing that heartfelt stuff because it's not easy sharing when you're going through, a bit of a tragedy or that sort of thing, and coming out the other side takes a lot of guts, a lot of courage. So admire you for that. So
thank you.
thank you.